My excuses to Javier Bardem, who's nominated for Best Actor, but this performance is the best performance by male, female in this past year, by far. And it's such, as I mentioned before, it's such a complicated role, Penelope, in the sense that she is outwardly doing one thing, but internally she's projecting this turmoil. How difficult was it for you to calibrate that performance?
It was not easy, but I felt so lucky and so blessed to have that in my hands, you know, to have his trust. And when I read it, I felt like I saw like a mountain to climb, and it was a very scary feeling. But like I was saying before, like I had to take it like a moment at a time, and he was there with us through the whole process. We had those amazing 5 months where he said, after Milena and I rehearsed for like 4 days, he said to us, girls, do you realize that this is gonna be a lot about drying your own tears? Like your own tears are not gonna mix with the ones of the characters. And for Janice, like you are not gonna be allowed to express most of the time your emotion. You can't, because if you do, you might risk like your own daughter. So of course we understood that, but to be able to get to that place, we thought the script was so good and it was so moving that every time we started reading a scene, we would just break into tears and end up hugging each other, and then he would wait, he would sit there very patient. Sometimes that happened on the set, even after all those months of rehearsals. And he would shoot the moments right before or the moments right after that explosion. And the rest, he would give us permission to go through that, because for me, with a character like that, I needed to go through that, or I felt like the way to stay sane, to feel safe, it was like having those moments of release, of emotional release. And he was giving us the time to, you know, go outside, go in the street, or go on the hallway, or sometimes I would ask him like, come here with me and give me a hug, and I had to like discharge all of that and get that release and come back, and then he would shoot that before and after. And there was one day where Milena and I just could not do the scene without crying. We tried for 8 hours and it was impossible. And he was there like very respectful, waiting. And it was the scene when she arrives to my apartment and tells me that her daughter is dead. And we could not do that without crying. It just was not happening. And then after 8 hours, he sent everyone home, and he didn't tell us the plan for the next day. But because I know him so well, I did a bet with the producer, with Esther, who also knows him very well. I said, I bet you tomorrow we're gonna shoot this entire scene again. Because he knew like we were in a tunnel of emotion, and like, and the next day he can be tough, and it's great that he can be tough, because with me he's always been respectful. But I want him to be tough, because then when he says, okay, that was good, I also believe that it was. Because when it isn't, you might do 20 takes, or you might go home and the next day do the whole scene again. And that's what happened with that scene. We reshoot the whole scene from the next morning, the entire day.
To me, we showed it at the end of the montage, the scene where your character is looking at the computer, and when you start lying, your body physically starts changing. Your mouth tightens, your whole body changes. Is that something that you calibrate and you worked on?
No, that is not like a plan or how your face will look or what your muscles will do. It's more like really try to be there and feel what a woman what a mother would feel in that situation. And he gave me a lot of freedom for that. He put the camera there and asked me to read the email. So I was reading what a real email would say from a laboratory, the medical test. I was reading the real email. We did like 4 takes. And it was tricky because there were 2 scenes in front of the computer, shot in a very similar way, very, very close up. And my fear was like, oh, we cannot do anything that feels the same, because it keeps getting even more complicated in the second reading, no?
Correct.
The first, I don't know if everyone here has seen the movie, so I'm not gonna talk too much,
Ruin
too
it.
many spoilers. I am the queen of spoilers, so sorry. But I didn't want to do the same thing, and he gave me a lot of freedom. But it's true that in that moment, in the second scene, the second email, he wanted me to be able to do something that make the audience know that at that moment I'm gonna start lying, because he jumps from the chair and calls a lawyer, and the lawyer is not there, and then she's gonna call Arturo, but no, she's gonna lie for a while. It could have been for the rest of her life, because the moment that she says the truth, she's gonna risk not seeing that girl ever again. So you were right, like that moment, the second time in the computer, is when she starts planning how to live a normal life with this lie on her shoulders.
You shot the film chronologically, and sorry, spoilers for those who haven't seen the film. It ends at the graveyard, and it's just a powerful scene where the young girl looks out to the future. And the film deals with the political history of Spain, the still unresolved political history of Spain. What was it like for you to wrap that film? And you have gone through COVID, you had gone through all the emotional, and you're saying goodbye to the crew and the staff.
Imagine like all those things happening at the same time, and then the scene of the mass grave was like the last 4 days, and it was really, really emotional. It was an homage, like to all the families that are still looking for a way to give dignity to those family members. And at the end of the day, the message from Pedro in this movie is the message from Janice, from my character, and it goes beyond any political side, any political statement. It's much bigger than that. It is about human rights, and I think that is why it's touching people's hearts everywhere and making them ask themselves a lot of questions, and the same thing that Janice is doing with Anna, with a younger generation of look at the past also and get inspired and learn from our mistakes from the past. So it was really emotional finishing the movie like that, especially with the face of the little girl who didn't speak. She was a little bit over 1 year old, and she looked older, but she didn't even speak, and she understood everything that was happening every day on the set. And it's almost like if her soul also understood what that scene was about, because when we did her close-up, she was not seeing anything scary, she was not seeing bones, or she was just looking at the people that are there doing the homage, and they were looking at her and smiling so that they make sure that she didn't think they were hurt. But her face was so wise, it's like everything was there, the past, the present, and the future in the eyes of this little girl.
So 7 films with Almodóvar. Any perspective on your side about your collaboration with Almodóvar?
I don't know. I just hope there will be many more, but I don't know. I'm trying to put this idea in his head to do a musical, because I think we need an Almodóvar musical. And he says it's a great idea. Yeah, everybody reacts like that. And he says it's a great idea, but he doesn't say if he's serious about it or not. Or he told me another great story 3 months ago that also doesn't know if he's gonna ever do it. So it's a mystery. And I don't ask him a lot of questions about his plans. I promise I don't. I had never done that.
But you feel certain that you're going to continue working with him, of course.
I would love to. I mean, it's my passion, you know, working with him, spending time with him. I enjoy every second of the time we spend together. So I really hope so.
Well, speaking of enjoying every second spent together, I enjoy every second you and I spent together.
Me too, and thank you for all the beautiful things that you said.
It's been 13 years since we last did this, so.
Thank you.